Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I'm here with Taylor, and today we're talking about Succession, Season 4, Episode 2, I'm Sorry.
Sorry.
Just so you know, we've been covering the show. We've been doing reviews as soon as the episodes drop, and we also have character breakdowns on Greg, to Shiv, to Roy. You name the character, we've been breaking them down. And we also have the best nerdy shirt, where you can get the Greg shirt. And just so you know, every comment in the video, you're entered to win the shirt. So we pick one person once a month. So just comment down below your thoughts and ideas on the show. And yes, we're here for it. And now we're jumping into the episode.
I like how you named Roy as a character. It's our last name.
Oh, that's right. I always do that.
Just all of them. We cover all of them.
Okay, what do you think?
Wow, I did not expect a confrontation, a meeting in the second episode.
In a karaoke bar.
Certainly did not, not in a karaoke bar. One of my notes is, has a karaoke bar ever been so silent? It's like you could hear a pin drop. It was so tense.
There was no rhythm.
So a little irony there. And that was
huge, and that was
intense.
At the end. So let's jump to beginning, right? So the trio's together. But first, before that, Logan's on the floor and he's being a killer.
Yeah.
or it's like he's sending stuff down the river. You know what I mean? I think he's testing people right now, where he's trying different things to see who has what. And I think that was the test for Tom. This episode was do you think she's fit for television? Oh yeah, she's really good. Are you sure? Blah blah blah. And I honestly think that's gonna come back to help out Greg.
Oh, that he did it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you think? Yeah.
I think Logan's gonna be like, hey, I really respect what you did, being honest and upfront, and that by Tom pushing it off and Greg firing someone basically the first time they be in the seat of power, be able to switch the seat. I think that's gonna give Greg major points down the line.
Yeah, and I think something I just thought of, we were talking about him being on the floor, and then he seems to have let go Sid, the head of ATN, or at least the head of programming, who's there in the booth while the shows are being recorded. And he seems to be pushing away Jerry. And I don't really know what's going on with Carrie right now. She's half in. I don't know if he's super into that. So I feel like he kind of, you could tell he misses his kids. We said that in the last episode, and he actually admitted it this episode. But I think he wants a Shiv type woman. I don't know. I just can't help but notice that he's kind of, all these inner circle women are just not cutting it for him, I guess. So
yeah, and it's tough though, because he wants Shiv, but he doesn't want Shiv in a sense, because he's he's had many chances to have Shiv before part of his team, and we kind of see what happens. He kind of runs her over, pushes her aside, promises everything, and then gives her nothing.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Roman, and freaking Roman comes crawling back.
I don't know if he's crawling back though. I don't know if we agree on that. I think that he feels bad. He could see his dad, or he believes his dad was being genuine. And I could see myself, I don't know, I could put myself in his shoes of being oh, well, he was being vulnerable, and he really does miss us. So I don't know, I'm just going to reach out again, I guess. But the other two are more F off, he doesn't, he's not being honest. Did you think he was being genuine when he was apologizing? I think he was, but I think it's going to be used to his advantage later on. I think he really does feel those things, but he uses emotions as tools. Because remember, you have to be a killer. It's about war for him. He'll use any tactic he can, even though he may really feel that way. His bottom line is he always wants to win and come out on top. So whatever game he's trying to play so he can come out on top, But is he different in this season? Because wouldn't coming out on top mean demanding more money from the guy who's going to buy him? Wouldn't that be the Logan thing? Or, you know what I mean? I just feel like he's different in this season.
Yeah, he also seemed like he was caring more about his job, getting back into it. Maybe he's just hey, I'm just going to keep going until the company dies. Like, who knows?
Or I do.
Yeah, or until he does. But like, I think it's one of the things. Like, what is he gonna do without this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real issue, especially with men in older age. You're like, what are they gonna do without their career and their job? Like, is he just gonna take up whittling? He's on a whittle wood all day. Like, I can't see him doing that.
I can't see that either.
Or
and I think that yeah, that remains, our baby theory remains to happen, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that, like I said, I don't know if everyone will agree, but I think he's different in this season. And, you know, we saw him questioning what the afterlife is in the last episode, and you would have never even seen that in the other ones. Yeah, I could see that. That feels like a little soap opera-y, but I mean, he's old and he, it wouldn't be crazy for him to have something.
And then, like, this is his, like, farewell tour. Like, he's doing everything he can to make it up for everyone. Like, he's trying to give everyone the best deal. He's trying to have a kid still and, like, all this stuff. He's trying just to make it work for everyone.
Yeah, Nick, I think he might be onto something. And, like, he probably knows that without him, the company won't be worth as much, or he can broker this deal, and he knows that money will be there for the family, but otherwise it's going to be up in the air. So that's a good point.
And then we have to talk about Tom in this episode. Tom, first, the first thing we really get of Tom is first he gets a call from Greg. His buddy about Logan being on the floor, and he runs in to kind of see but on his way in he also gets a call from Shiv about the lawyer thing and everything else. So now we know that Logan's helping him out with all the lawyers. Maybe Shiv's really getting screwed out of a lot of money and a lot of stuff, which just can't believe Logan's doing that to his daughter. But
go
on.
Not even that. I feel like it would have been one thing if he was just doing that, but then he said to her, well, if you would have asked me, I would have said the same thing. It's like, well, I'm your daughter. Like, you don't then you should have just had
them. Like, that's like, he says things like that, and just like, dude, he's totally playing them at the karaoke party. He's playing them like a funky piano. I thought it was really cool with the phone call from Tom. It almost set him up to actually stand up to Logan, because, like, remember he's like talking to him in the kitchen after the whole pizza fiasco, and he's like, why, how come we can't just warm up pizza? He's like, but then they're soft and lumpy, or something like that. But
there's a sogginess factor.
Yeah, sogginess factor, that's what it was. And then but Tom kind of stood up to Logan, giving his true opinion about the whole matter. And it was like, and I think Logan was like getting a little bit of respect, but then it's like, oh, do you fire his girlfriend? And obviously that gets passed down to Greg. It's like a ripple effect, right? And like the next ripple keeps going on, and Greg is always at the back end of the ripple, but it always seems to benefit him because he's still there. That guy, you just can't get rid of Greg, man. Greg's awesome.
Yeah, he's like the worst fixer ever. Like, he'll do the dirty work, but it just isn't gonna get done the best way it could, but it gets done. Yeah. I mean, the message got across.
It definitely got across. And then we got to talk about Connor too. We didn't talk about Connor last episode, and as soon as we were done filming and I was like editing, I remember calling you. It's like, I can't believe we forgot to talk about Connor, and he's at his 1%, and if he needs to put more money in, just stay at 1%. But
he's like, I might go lower, and Greg's like, 1 is the lowest number.
He's like, decimals, man, decimals. He's having not wedding issues. I mean, it would just be self-confidence issues. I mean, what's going on with Connor in this episode?
I think that there's definitely wedding issues, that there's relationship issues where, I mean, we've all known that Willow was kind of like half in, half out. Yeah. And then it seemed in some part of the episode that she was all out. But then I think the ending, I just think this is I don't know if we've ever kind of seen this depth from Connor before.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the butt of the joke. But that whole, in the karaoke room bar, that whole like love kind of speech he gave was really heavy.
And what's interesting at the end of the episode, he's truly the only one probably with the closest thing to love in the family.
I know, right? I was totally thinking the same thing. Like, he's the most, I mean, they're all like, cursed with the curse of being a billionaire that I think makes you
it's
kind
like
of miserable.
The Logan curse. Yeah, it's the Logan curse.
Yeah. And so, like, besides that obvious thing, that happens internally to you when you have that much money, I think he does have, like, the closest, which is sad because, like, his love it's like a really weird relationship, but he has the closest thing.
It's the closest thing.
Yeah.
No, it really is. Yeah. And I liked how, like, Kendall and Roman were like, no, man, you're not going to do any better. Just.
Yeah. I was like, man, that's like, so, yeah, the girl's like, you'll do better. The guys are like, no.
That's the best you can get.
That was hilarious. Yeah.
And then
it's like the best that they could get. I love Willow. Yeah.
That's true. And then basically the episode's revolving around this deal. And everyone's getting input. It's such a
the whole series. I mean, the whole season so far is revolving around it. There's way less like storylines going on around. It's really all about this.
I think we're gonna get more storylines coming next episode once the wedding comes in, once the trio starts to split and fracture, because obviously Kendall's going after it now because he didn't like the way what's his name, the guy that's buying the company, Madison or Matsumo, or I can't remember.
I think it's Matson.
Matson, thank you. Matson,
yeah.
I mean, he didn't like the way he was talking to him, basically. And it was really cool because it's like the way his dad used to talk to him. And it was so funny because he was starting to walk up the slow stair, like he was starting to walk up the stairs slow. And it was like that thing that happened to him whenever Logan would get mad at him, he would kind of just go like inwards. And it was like, oh, dude, don't you go back to that like empty shell of a human being. It was cool to see him like think about it, like, you know what, send me all that info. Is it the right move to make because it's emotional, or is he just going after it because he wants to actually look tough? And remember, a killer, right? You have to be a killer to win. So I just thought that was really cool, that whole little moment. And Shiv's really taking the reins and being the actual business person at the beginning of the episode. Roman and Kendall are really taking it seriously. They're kind of joking around, making fun of the news anchor. That's like the whole thing. And then it was kind of cool to see the second half actually get back into Succession, where it's like the wheeling and dealing, what's going on, and all that stuff. So
yeah, definitely. And something I thought about too while you're saying that about Shiv having that like business finesse in the beginning, and then because like we've always said, they all have their strengths in business and in personally, and I think that Logan was impressed by the Pierce deal, and he knows. It's kind of like the tables have turned a little bit, in my opinion. I don't know if everyone will agree with that, but it's almost like he wants them in his corner because he's like, oh man, they did outdo him.
Yeah. Maybe they have some worth to give still, or some skills to use.
Right.
But it's like, just because of one deal, it's like, oh, they're smart. So, I mean, this one deal, and it was
he's
their
wanted
dad's
it for
deal.
so long.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's been working at it for so long. I mean, they were over at the Pierces trying to broker this like 2 seasons ago.
But the whole reason why though it was because of him. He would never have it. She hated him. Right? That was like the idea behind it. So it's like anyone can say, if you hate Logan, here's more money than Logan's trying to offer you. Like, sell to us. Like, it was a pretty easy deal to broker at that point.
Yeah, and I mean the allegory of it or whatever is like they're like the more like MSNBC sort of thing, and then Waystar is kind of supposed to be sort of like a Fox News. That, I mean, it makes sense like that the family of this more like left leaning would kind of be. That's kind of, if that happened in real life, you'd be like, what the heck? So it was probably better for the Pierces too, on headline wise, that they sold it to like this, still the Roys, but they're going to like make it young and whatever. So,
Then the last thing I just want to touch on, what do you think is going on with Logan's relationship? Do you think that's why I kind of think he wanted to put her in the spot of the anchor, so it was like a test to throw down the river, who he can truly trust and stuff, because she seems pretty much willing to do whatever Logan tells her to do, kind of thing. Like, if he says you're going to have to be a news anchor, even though she may not feel comfortable being a news anchor, she's like doing it to play the part, to find out different people's skill sets and weaknesses. Maybe he's trying to judge his inner circle right now to see who has the strengths and the weaknesses and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's like a little bit up in the air. I think it could be something. I think if that were the case, we probably would have seen a scene where she talks about that. Like it's kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I think that Logan doesn't respect anybody who doesn't like play or that just plays along with him. That isn't like fighting him or like trying to not, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if he really respects people who aren't. Like I don't think he respects Tom or Greg or just people yes men. Yeah. So I think Carrie, maybe she was enough of a yes man to be his assistant, but not enough to like spar. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of using her a little bit as that was my long answer. Yeah. And yeah, I don't really remember where she came from. Like
she was just an assistant one day.
Yeah. And that was so weird how she was in the karaoke bar too. Yeah, I guess I would wonder what other people think about that, about her character, because I can't really get a read on it, to be honest.
All right, let's read those comments.
Okay, I thought this was a good one to start with. This is Brian Ventura. So, Waystar Gojo deal falls over, and then Roman brokers Gojo Pierce deal. Ah. That's pretty prophetic. I mean, I could totally see that happening after tonight. So, way to go, Brian. You're a future teller. I think Shiv or Laurette Gannon says, I think Shiv or Roman might turn Kendall in for the murder he admitted to them at the wedding. Yeah, definitely really? Thought. I think that was one of our predictions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Oh, and then there's
he's going to be the fall guy, basically.
Right. Yeah. There's other people saying that Claudius is a reference to Hamlet, which, this is in the predictions.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that episode?
We're talking
about a prediction.
These are comments from the predictions video. Okay, yeah. I was like, okay, let's see. Okay, Kathy Howard agrees. Carrie gets pregnant. Logan dies and wills everything to their child. Carrie takes control until her child gets older. See, I mean, I wouldn't have predicted that even Logan would be so soft and stuff in this season so far, at least like how he's expressing himself. Yeah. So it makes me question even like so many of my predictions, because I was totally like what Kathy was saying, like, oh, he's gonna like have this love child just to like screw his kids. Yeah. But it's like at this point, I don't know. Okay. So, and I think this is another Jeepster Mario says the Roy kids have entitlement, and Greg is thrown into real life chess game, and he is learning the rules along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like Harry Potter. He's being introduced to the world. He's learning how to play the game. Even though he caught on pretty quick. If you watch our Greg breakdown video, he caught on pretty quick on how to navigate through the river or rapids. Yeah, it's more of a rapid. it's whitewater rapids. Well, thank you guys so much. You know what? Or what do you think is going to happen next episode? Really quickly, Taylor.
I think it would be too simple. A wedding. Yeah. So that's another thing. I'm sometimes anti like watching trailers or promos for things, because then I just like to go in blind. So when the Willa and Connor stuff was happening, I was like, oh, well, we know they get married because we saw it in the promo. Yeah. So
darn those trailer reaction videos. We do them for you guys.
Okay, so what happens in the next episode? I think it's too obvious for Roman to just like hop onto his side. I think he's going to be like torn a little bit.
Yeah. He keeps his thoughts to himself too sometimes. You can definitely tell he's not agreeing with people. He's like, yeah, he's kind of processing like differently, like what's going on here kind of thing. But yeah, definitely going to see something.
Yeah. I feel like too, he might tell his sibling, he might actually like loop his siblings in on it and say like, oh, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Like I'm actually in the room and like figuring out what he's saying. I feel like it's not going to be like a totally blind betrayal. What do you think?
Well, maybe if he learned his lesson from last season, the last episode of last season, he's like, I don't know, Dad, love. And he like made fun of him because of the word love. But now his dad's all lovey-dovey. I don't know. If he's not smart enough to catch on to that as just a normal human being of learning, don't trust this deal or don't trust your dad, which is sad to say, but like he was all about love and coming together and like, you do this for the family, and Logan was not having it, but now Logan wants all the love when it benefits him. Logan's manipulating his kids like dogs. The only thing he's ever loved.
I think we divert a little bit there because I feel like there's some genuineness to him. So we'll see what path it goes, or if it stays kind of in the middle.
Yep, we will see.
And we'll have to check in on our babies theory if you don't know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Baby theory it's still a possibility. There has not been a pregnancy test, but there's still a possibility. That's so easy to write into. And I'm pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to show anything. You just,
And I guess we got to catch on who's drinking alcohol and who's not. Well, they'll probably still drink alcohol. I don't know.
We'll keep a close eye on that. Yeah, that's a little, I don't know if that's a foolproof quiz, but we'll see.
It's a Greg plan. On that note, go to thebestnerdyshirts.com. You can get your Greg t-shirt, and remember, all your comments are entered in at the end of the month, and we're going to pick a winner for that month to win a shirt. So comment down below. Thank you, Taylor, for coming on. You can go to the Best Nerdy Shirts again, and then we'll see you on the next AsArt. Yeah. Greg, I bet Greg's going to reveal the baby too. He's going to be like the baby reveal party. Somehow. He's going to be the one pulling the string, and we're going to see like blue